Hi, my name's Angela Casey and welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, the podcast that explores Edinburgh's green spaces and the people in them. And today I'm down in Cramond, which is in the west of the city. It's at the mouth of the River Almond and is on the edge of the Forth Estuary, so there are boats and people playing on the beach and seagulls, which you can probably hear. Cramond was an important place during Roman times, and there are remains of a fort beside the church. Cramond Island is tidal, and today I'm going out to visit it with Ian Roger, and we're going to view the World War II ruins, and I'm going to find out all about this amazing island. We have a window of opportunity to get out there, but it's quite long and the weather is really settled, so it should be a good trip. And I'm here with Ian Roger, who's chair of the Cramond Heritage Trust. And so, Ian, welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for taking me out to Cramond Island, which I'm really excited about seeing and learning more about.
It gets a wee bit windy. It looks settled enough just now, so I think it should be okay. I usually stop here any time I'm doing the tour and I point out my favourite castle because I love the name of it, Barnbougle. And also, you can't see it just now because it's in the shade. That outcrop to the left is actually Eagle Rock, and that's where the Roman eagle is. This esplanade, in inverted commas, when you look at the old photographs of the village, the beach just ran into the river.
Yeah.
So there was very little path along the front of the houses. In 1920, Edinburgh Council took over here, as well as Leith and all the other places round about. And somebody came up with a brilliant idea of redeveloping this whole area. They were going to fill in the land from here out to the island. They declared that from this side that way was going to be a pleasure beach, and all the big houses would be tea rooms and hotels and things like that.
Oh, so it's going to be like Torquay?
Yes. The dual carriageway that goes nowhere at Silverknowes, that was part of it. So that road
was to bring all the people?
Yeah, it was to bring, but it wasn't just to bring all the people down here. It was going to swing right round here. That is the road. That is not an esplanade. And the road was going to go all the way up to Queensferry, because the other half of the land was going to be Edinburgh Airport, between here and the island.
It was going to be Edinburgh Airport?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that all went ahead. It took them 15 years to get their act together. They had compulsory purchase orders at all the houses. They'd changed all the planning permissions, and they started work on the dual carriageway and on this bit. And then a certain person in Germany kicked up a bit of a stink. The work was stopped immediately, and the workers from the buildings were put on to putting on the Dragon's Teeth out to the island for protection. And that was the end of Edinburgh Airport going here.
That was the end of Edinburgh Airport and Torquay. Torquay and
yes,
Edinburgh.
And Torquay. This is the point where I usually tell people about the tide.
Yes.
And what I tell them is that it takes me 15 minutes to walk out to where you see the Saltire from here to the island.
Yep.
And I usually show them two photographs, one with no water in the bay and one with water on the Causeway, and the photographs were taken 10 minutes apart. That's why so many people get caught out.
So I mean, at the moment it looks like the tide is miles out, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but it comes in quite fast.
This causeway is a bit of a misnomer. It's not a causeway at all, it's actually a sewer outlet.
Oh, we're getting all the glamorous stuff now. Do you get the view from here?
Yeah, it's pretty stunning.
We are getting planes as we go along. We're going to try and not talk when they're on, when they're going over, but they are noisy.
If you just stop here, Angela, I'll show you why we came this way. These steps are really very, very...
OK, so if people are coming out to Cramond, as they set off, take the lower Causeway, don't take the higher one. And then these posts?
These posts were done for the Second World War.
Right.
To stop small boats coming through and up the river. They were also enhanced by the fact that there used to be booms right across the Forth. So there was a boom from Cramond Island over to Inchcolm, and then there was one from Inchcolm over to Fife.
See, I only found that out recently, that there were booms here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There was another one further out as well.
Right.
But it all went very well. They did it very quickly. They actually laid the mines within 24 hours of war being declared.
Gosh, the tide's a long way out. Does it normally? Is this quite a low one?
This is fairly low, yeah. But I mean, it's very erratic, and that's why the photograph I told you about is only 10 minutes apart. It's not always like that, but
No.
it's safer to think it is going to be like that to get back over.
So when we were coming out here, you pointed me onto the RNLI South Queensferry site.
That's right, yeah.
And that was incredibly
Helpful.
and clear.
Yeah.
It was really good because it just said you can go between these times.
Yeah.
So you don't actually need any technical knowledge of tides or
No,
anything like that.
no.
You can just look at it.
I think the only proviso I would say about that note is that the times on that chart, because of what I told you about the 10-minute tide, you need to be back on land at the end of the green period,
Right.
not leaving from over there.
So how many people in a month have to get rescued, do you think?
I don't know the exact numbers, but I know fairly recently it was recorded that Queensferry lifeboat station was one of the busiest in Scotland because of Cramond Island.
Oh, really? Well, you can see how many people are out here today because it is a bank holiday. So there's quite a lot of people out here. And I guess some people forget to look at their watch. How many tours do you do out here?
Not that many, maybe 2 or 3 a year. And then sometimes we'll get a group tour that will come forward, so that could maybe bring it up to another 3 or 4. But they're available for group tours anytime. And there's another 4 different tours round the Cramond area talking about the various other heritage things.
Which is a really interesting place, actually.
Just looking up in front of us as we walk out towards the island, that saltire that's been painted on the knoll, that's quite exciting because that's been one of the best things that they've done to stop graffiti.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, because you're not going to paint on it, are you? That's true.
I don't know who did it either, it just suddenly appeared one day.
I mean, it's pretty noticeable. You see it from everywhere, don't you? So, Ian, how did you get into doing this?
My background as an amateur was theatre years ago. I saw Sonny Lumiere in Glasgow Cathedral, which is a light and sound show telling the history of the area. And I always wanted to replicate it. So in 2001, we did Sonny Lumiere in Cramond.
Where did you do it?
In the Kip.
And you've not repeated it?
No, we've never repeated it.
Was it too much work?
It was the production cost, and that went towards a timeline which is now in the Kirk Hall to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the current church building. It was quite an experience. That's how I got to know the heritage group and then gradually got involved into it.
So there's a group of you, because I met some of your colleagues. How often do you meet?
Well, we open the maltings during the summer. It's all run by volunteers. It's open on a Saturday and a Sunday from 2 till 5 at public holidays. The other time that we open is during the Edinburgh Festival. We're open every day, so 2 till 5.
I'll know where to come to get away from the festival. There's an amazing view of Leith from here. Look at that.
Yeah, this is the first of the World War II items. This hill here is called the Knoll. It's quite significant, but the gun tower is at the top beside the flag, and below it is the searchlight position. So as you can see from the searchlight position, the iron bars at the bottom, they were there to catch the door of the searchlight because it was hinged at the bottom so that it could be instantaneously dropped and the searchlight could be on. The searchlight actually filled the majority of that space, and it was pivoted in the ceiling and in the floor so that they could swing it round.
Is it facing the right way?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they know it is, and the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
But I'm thinking it's pointing at Edinburgh.
Yeah, the reason for that is that was a defence for MD that managed to get onto the beach.
Right.
So the searchlight and the guns would open up from behind as any invasion tried to get onto the beach.
Ah.
So that's why that one's there, basically. The whole building actually has a searchlight, the gun position, a munitions area, a place where the men could be because they were on duty 24/7, not individually, but they had teams. Mm-hmm. So they had somewhere to sit and relax and sleep. So that's all in that area there, so that a team could go in there and be there for the whole time.
There are bluebells
and
trees. It's more wild than I thought it was. I just had a vision of a rock.
It was farmland, both arable and animals.
And at that time they'd have had to bring the animals out by boat.
Or walk them out
At low tide. Oh, I suppose even before the sewage pipe was there or the causeway was there, you could still walk across.
Yeah, when people... I mean, it's been farmland for centuries, and people would bring a horse and cart across in the 20th century, when the house was used for holidaymakers, they would be brought over in the horse and cart, and their deliveries would be brought over in the horse and cart.
So what you're talking about, the days when people weren't getting in that plane there and flying off to Spain, they were coming over here for their holidays.
Yes, it was the middle of the 19th century that the advert appeared in the Scotsman saying that there was accommodation available, and there was regular holidaymakers came to the island over the next 100 years. We've got some photographs in the museum of people hunting and fishing, playing tennis. There used to be a quarry down here that was filled in with water, and the kids used it as a yachting pond. Down in the side here is the well for the island, so they had fresh water in the island. It wasn't enough during the Second World War, and the army had to bring out their own water supplies.
Yeah.
But what you see now hasn't been touched since before the Second World War.
Right, you can see the bridges behind you.
During the Second World War, the entire island was commandeered by the army, so everybody was moved off.
Yeah.
During the First World War, only a third of it was commandeered, so the holidaymakers still came.
During the war.
And we've got photographs of the holidaymakers and the soldiers interacting.
So the holidaymakers stayed on the island.
Yes.
When the soldiers came.
Yep.
To fortify it.
Yeah, they fortified
in
the First World War. They only fortified the north side of the island, looking out towards the first. It was the Second World War that the heavier guns were brought in and other things were brought into play. So where we're standing at the moment is actually the highest point in the island, and it gave immediate shelter to the buildings that were in here, which are in that woodland.
Oh, right, okay.
That woodland's all been created within the last 30 years.
Yeah, that's not old wood, is it?
It's not old, but...
so it would have been a bit more bleak.
And open. We know that there was cows at one point, round about the time Robert Louis Stevenson was around, because he was a visitor to the island. He had a friend in the island. There was 2 houses then. And then in the middle of the 19th century, they put the advert into the Scotsman, and they started letting out the main cottage, which by that time had 7 rooms in it. But the farmer was still here. The hogs were still here farming right through to the turn of the century. So the hogs and the holidaymakers who were regular did come very friendly.
Right.
So it was quite a social event. We've got a huge photograph of them all sitting in the rock having a picnic. And we've got a photograph of the grandfather, who was the one that rented the accommodation from Leith and brought his family. We've got him sitting in the horse and cart coming out from Cramond, because it was a carter in Cramond, the Baileys. He brought them out, and he brought out supplies. The other way they would get it is somebody would come in, the younger members would go in. If it was tide was in, they would row across and get supplies and come back. Bailey had a bit of a financial problem, the carter, and his friend said he would do the run for him. So he used his coal truck, which was a petrol coal truck, but it didn't last very long because the seawater was rotting the axle, so they had to reinstate the horse and cart to get here.
I thought you were going to say he sank.
No. Well, there's been a few instances of that as well. I mean, there was one in the 60s where somebody tried to come over here in a Range Rover.
I bet they did. People must do. I bet it still happens occasionally.
Well, we haven't had it for
Not
a
a
while.
good idea. We would recommend to people that they don't try it.
I wouldn't even think about it. So we'll go into the woodland and have a look at the cottage, what's left of it, and have another wee talk about that.
Right, we're now walking into some woodland
which
with
is
bluebells.
Very young.
Oh yeah, there's a ruin here.
Yep. So when you look at the photographs of the cottage, you can see it's just a long row of 7 rooms. This bit here that you see in front of you was the low wall which held the conservatory as part of the house. And so again, we've got photographs of them in the kitchen making a meal and sitting in the conservatory. So it was quite a home from home. We've been very lucky that some people have come and said to us, oh yes, I used to come out here before the Second World War and we holidayed here, and we've got photographs of sure, and some of the photographs we've got in the maltings now of people, as I say, playing tennis, hunting, fishing and shooting.
It's hard to imagine now because it's so overgrown, and it's got trees in the middle of it, and it's just a complete ruin.
It was evacuated for the Second World War. The lease was still available to the family, and they did try, between the 2 wars and after the Second World War briefly, to reconstruct it, but they were hampered quite a bit by vandalism, and because of the vandalism they just gave up, and it's been like this ever since.
What a shame.
The island is actually owned by the Rosebery Estate.
Right.
For a while it was leased to the Cramond Boat Club for a while, and they used it for, if they were short and they didn't get in time because it's tidal. But they've given that up now, so the only thing that you see out here is tourists coming out to see, the occasional person that wants to stay overnight, including my daughter who had her 21st birthday party out here overnight. Her birthday's the 6th of March. Stupid woman.
It's a bit bonkers. I could imagine doing it for midsummer, but not now.
Right, that's us finished with the kind of domestic side.
Yeah.
We're now going on to wartime use, apart from, obviously, we've talked about the knoll.
This feels quite arable, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely birds out here.
The other users you get are raves.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes unofficial, sometimes official.
Right.
And in fairness to the new laird, the new Earl, he permitted a rave here last year, and it was him that cleared this ground for them. Right. And I did a guided walk just after the rave, and whether his gardeners had come back out or whether he had made it clear that the rave, if they wanted to come back, they had to tidy up, but the place was well tidy.
Yeah.
So, it's at least it's getting used, and it's, it might not be your scene, but the kids love it,
To be honest, if you're going to have a rave, or if you live near where someone's going to have a rave, you'd probably rather they came out to an island and made all the racket out here than did it right beside your house.
Yeah. You can see now this is World War II paths we're on now.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting into what was the main camp for the World War II site. The whole company would stay out here.
Yeah.
And then they would just take on their shifts and then relax on the island. And that meant that the whole place was protected. This building, the first building we're coming to here, is actually the north generator, because you had these huge searchlights, one here and another one down on the front facing the Firth. So the generator had to be here to produce the electricity. Also, the gun emplacement, which looks straight out towards the opening of the Forth, was on a turntable.
Oh, yeah.
So they needed the electricity to be able to move the guns round to set them up. It would probably be as well just going this way, because
it's great the way it's all just grown over like this. The views from here are incredible.
Yeah. That's Inchcombe over there.
Yeah. That's Inchmickery, which is the one that really looks like a ship, isn't it?
Yes. I'm afraid I'm going to have to burst your bubble in that.
No.
It looks like a ship from here.
Yeah.
The Germans weren't coming this way. They were coming this way.
Just burst my bubble.
Sorry.
I always, anyone who follows me on social media, whenever I walk through Dalmeny, I go, look, it looks like a ship. So that wasn't an intention. They do, don't they?
They do, I admit them. The boom would have gone from here straight over to Inchcombe, and it would have had an opening in the middle to allow our ships in and out. There was another boom further up. The defences in World War I, we were the middle defence. There was one at the bridge, where there was us, and there was one at Leith, over to Kinghorn. In the Second World War, the bridge one disappeared. Cramond Island became the final of the three. Leith was the middle one, and because they had more firepower, the guns were at Fidra and almost at Kirkcaldy, and that was the first defence. Each defensive area had its own command, so if there was anything fell, then the other two could work independently. And as I said earlier, the men stayed on the island the whole time.
Quite a nice place to be.
Yeah, it's quite a nice place to be. So if we just walk down here, you'll see the gun turret, and we're seeing some of the buildings down in the front. So this building here is the south generator's room, so if one got knocked out, they had a backup. You'll see that obviously this is the best place for the gun emplacement. Because it can sweep right round the whole of the Firth of Forth.
What an incredible location.
So you can see there the tracks, the turntable that the gun would have sat on, and it would be motored round to the appropriate position. The same sort of thing to think about is that there's the ammunitions centre, there's somewhere for the men to stay, and then there's a pillboxes down there that would also have been manned at the time. Right, we'll walk over to Duck Bay. beach. If you look just in front of us, you'll see a small stone outcrop.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the harbour. That was a pier. So it was stonework halfway out and then a wooden pier right out into the water. Whether it went out far enough to allow ships to come in low tide, I don't know.
So just say the tennis courts were round the corner?
Yeah, it's difficult to see because of the growth that we've had. The metalled road we walked down would have been the main access down here to the pier. And when the army decided to pull out, and it took them a good few years after the Second World War, they brought all their equipment that they wanted to keep down here, and they put a light railway from here to the mainland. And as you're walking around the beach, you can keep an eye out. There's still some of the rails in the sand, and that's how they got most of their heavy stuff off.
I suppose by then they'd built the causeway, so they could put a railway on it.
There's part of the railway.
Oh, yeah.
And there's another part buried in the sand.
I was going to ask you what people should think about when visiting the islands, which we sort of did at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an opportunity to get away, have a picnic, see a bit of history, although it is tending to lean heavily towards the Second World War items, if that's an interest to you. But just come out here and enjoy the sun and the views and make sure you're back in time.
Yeah. Look, I can see some... Is that the tide coming in?
Yep, that's the tide coming in, so it's time to go.
I'm so cautious, as I said to you. I'm not going to be...
Quite rightly so.
I would not be one of the people paddling across the causeway thinking, oh, I hope I make it. I would definitely be at the forefront of let's get off the island now. You know, there were a lot of people over here, but actually at that point just back there, we've got away from them all.
Just over 19 acres to spread out on.
Right.
So you'll find a nook and cranny out of the way if you look hard enough.
So tell me about the trust.
The trust was formed just after they discovered the Roman bathhouse, which is just beside the car park underneath the ground. And the intention was to have a heritage park around there, and the trust was set up to run it. And if you go up to where the bathhouse is, there's a building behind it that used to belong to the estate, and it was going to be converted into our museum, and then they would cover up the bathhouse because it's one of the best preserved bathhouses in Scotland.
Oh, really?
And they would cover it over and then open it up to the public. But money did not materialise and the whole thing was abandoned, but the trust remained. The local authority gave us the premises that we've got, and we continued to flourish as an exhibition centre, an information centre, and also, because we're aware of the conservation orders round about the place, a pressure group if there's any contradictions to planning, which, you know, like all planning situations, you win some, you lose some. And we're also always looking for some ways to not only preserve the heritage, but also develop the heritage and make sure that it's there for the future.
Well, it's an incredibly interesting place, Cramond. I mean, it's been a significant area.
Yeah.
There's a number of points of history, hasn't it?
Mesolithic, Neolithic, Bronze, Iron Age, the Romans, 100 years when the iron industry was in Cramond, or just up the river from Cramond. So there's stages that the village has gone through, and all the same time there's been farming going on round about.
And how many volunteers have you got?
We're probably round about the 40 mark, and a small committee of about 8 or 9. But like all organisations, we're always on the lookout for new volunteers for both the stewarding of the exhibition centre and also to help actually running the place. I've got a small team of 5 archivists, and we look after the archives. We've just recently digitised the index to the documents we've got, so you can actually go online to the archive hub or onto your Scottish Archive website, and you'll get an index of all the documents we've got in our files. So if you want to research something, you can look up our index, and if it interests you, get in touch and we can arrange a visit. We'll do that right through the year. If anybody wants to come in to do some research for genealogy, history or archaeology, bearing in mind that we've got the Roman fort the Roman bathhouse, the Roman lioness come out of the water in front of our building.
I know. Is the bathhouse covered up now?
Yeah, you can't see it at all.
So they excavated it and then covered it up?
They covered it up for safety when they realised that the money wasn't going to forthcoming to develop it, because the lime mortar that they used would have just dissolved in the rain if they had left it open. So they would have lost the hypocaust and all that part of it. But it was quite a significant find. They also found 9 skeletons in what, unfortunately for the skeletons, but they didn't know it at the time, they were buried about 100 years, 200 years later, was actually the latrine of the bathhouse. So they lay in the museum in Edinburgh for 30 odd years, and then we found some funding, and in collaboration with the city archaeologist John Lawson, we got the DNA samples from the skeletons, and we now know where the 9 people came from. We know how some of them died. We knew what kind of nutrition they had.
And who were they? What era? They were after Roman, were they?
They were after the Romans, obviously. They just come across the hole in the ground and thought it was a good place to put bodies. Fortunately, by that time, all the waste had disappeared. But it was quite a find. The exhibition was in the City Museum for a while, and John Lawson has given it to us, and we have it in our museum. It does give a fascinating tale of medieval time.
Yeah, see, I'm convinced the tide's going to come rushing in, but actually it's quite a long way. Are you an outdoorsy person?
I'm not an outdoorsy person.
No.
What I get out of the outdoors is my own garden. My partner's very interested in the outdoors and drags me out every now and again. But my outdoors activities tend to be guided walks for the area and taking people round to see the various sights and scenes of Cramond.
Where's your favourite place in or around Edinburgh?
One of the places that I do like to go back to on occasion is the Chinese gardens in the Botanics. I just have nice memories of it because I saw it as a grass verge, and then they gradually built up the Chinese gardens. And I have an affinity with Japanese and Chinese gardening. I've actually got a small...
Have you got some bonsais?
No, I haven't done bonsais. I started doing them, but no, it was too much work. I've got a Japanese laid-out garden just outside my front window.
There's sort of one in Lauriston, isn't there?
Yes, there's a lovely big one there. The best one I saw was actually in Ireland. There's a nice one out towards the Calders, past Livingston. There's a big Japanese garden there, which is very well worth a visit.
Yeah.
But the Lauriston one is as well.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. That was great. I really enjoyed that. It was very kind of you to walk out to the island with me.
Not at all.
And tell me all about it.
These walks are available online.
Right, so if people want to go and do one of the guided walks, and I would highly recommend it because I think I would have gone out there and not known what I was looking at a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice to have somebody who takes you out there and shows you what you're looking at and tells you the stories, the little anecdotes about the holiday cottages.
Yeah.
And also worth coming and then going into the maltings and looking at the exhibition.
The history.
Yeah. We're by the ice cream van again. Because actually it brings it to life, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoyed finding out about the island. We had a lovely sunny day.
Yeah.
And I
Can't
highly
always
recommend
guarantee
it.
that, but we do our best.
Well, the day we were going to come out was going to be horrendous, so I'm very glad we came out when we did. Thank you for listening to Edinburgh Outdoors. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please rate us on your podcast app and leave a review. And don't forget to tell your friends, family or colleagues about it too. If you know of an outdoors space or person in or around Edinburgh that might like to be featured, you can get in touch via email, Blue Sky, Instagram or Facebook.